me about the young Bob. I know that you very sadly lost your mother at a very young age.
Yeah.
What were you like as a child?
I was a pain in the then, and I've maintained this steady course ever since. I was always a low-grade pain in school, you know. I wasn't going, and calling teachers. I, was subtle, and I thought it was subtle. I was always spotted and thrown out. So again, it's self-evident, really. As you say, my mother died when I was, 7 or 8. I've no memory of her. My father was a commercial traveller. He went away on Monday, came back on Friday. Nothing he could do about it in Ireland in those days. That was the only job he could get. But essentially, me and my sister, 2 sisters, brought ourselves up because there was literally no one around. So, a little boy really doesn't care about, going to the laundrette or getting his hair cut. And there's no one to temper the points of view that he's forming. There was no telly, because in those days, I don't think there was tellies, but we had no money anyway. There was no phone, there was no fridge. And there was no one to make me do homework, no one. So I just took books out of the library, school library, and I listened to the one rock and roll station that was available. And so there you go, books and rock and roll. And, out of the improbable microstate of Luxembourg, there was lowered down this golden thread of pop. And I imbibed everything Mick and Keith and Paul and John and Pete and Bob told me. And what these young boys were positing were radically different alternatives to anything I was hearing elsewhere, other universes of possibility. And I clung on to that golden rope as it lowered itself out of the purple ether of rock and roll, and I clung on feverishly. And I think because of the conditions of my life, and because it was a Catholic school, and the priests only ever came alive when they talked about their life in Africa, so I was attuned to that. And I worked then when I was 15, 16 I didn't bother going home after school. I'd go into town and just work with a crowd who dealt with homeless people. Divorce wasn't legal in Ireland then, so men who'd lost their families and started drinking, not going to work, getting dirty, and ended up on a park bench. The hookers, very skinny, whey-faced, impoverished girls being beaten up by their thuggish pimps, and just the schizophrenic. So I was dealing with, and also the books I was reading that I chose to read that engaged me were Steinbeck, Dickens, Studs Terkel, Woody Guthrie's Bound for Glory. That's where I got the name, the Boomtown Rats. All those books seem to deal with people who fell by the wayside as a result of poverty or something. And I wasn't falling by the wayside, but I sympathized with that probably because I didn't feel hard done by. I didn't feel, oh, poor me. But I knew that my mates, I'd often go to their houses, we're going to a nice warm house and a meal and that. And actually, I was more off that they had tellies, but and it wasn't a living thing. It was just, I didn't feel hard done by. I don't know what I felt. I felt, because I was dealing with people worse than me, I just felt, this is really, it really doesn't have to be this way. And pop music was the things that said, no, it doesn't have to be this way, and rock and roll music did inform that entire period. And I'm not sure it still does, but it certainly did. And it is classically the music of frustration and anger. And so I latched onto that, and I tried to get whatever jobs. I left school without a single exam. I don't say that with any pride or shame. And I just wandered about from job to job, trying to find something that just worked for me.
Thank you for watching, and for more from CNBC International, just hit the subscribe button.